PP flaps.
Hello and welcome. Thank you for those comments in the background, my fellow players. I'm Reprobate Gamer. You can call me Rep, and I welcome to this next session here at the Emerald Collective. I will not be your GM tonight. Instead, we're handing the reins over to the world-wise and terrific Wayne Talbot helming us through this mini Dragonheart campaign. I'll hand things over to our esteemed guest in one moment, but I've handed a list of things to bring to your attention before we start. We stream live plays several days a week, most often Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, with the occasional bonus here and there, such as today. On the schedule this week, on Tuesday, I've snuck into the gym chair in place of Kara again before he notices, and we carry on in the City of Towers, where the party have escaped an assassination attempt and fought their way into a crime den. Basement has been revealed, but can they uncover the confirmation of whomever ordered their deaths? No, they can't, but they're welcome to try. Then on Thursday, rebirth of the Graven King continues, and the battle against the malevolent entity Shazasthar has begun. As our heroes cross swords with this spectral horror, they are uncomfortably aware that Shazasthar has been in possession of their blood for some time, the freak. How does he intend to use the life essences against them? Can the party defeat the minion of the son of the Graven King and unravel this powerful being's masterpiece? GM Dave is in charge of this. I might ask him to assist, but I suspect he won't because there's players in that campaign here. But I don't know if he wants to say any words.
Yeah, I was just talking about in the channel about how it's interesting and somewhat tragic that you guys did not include a healer in your party, and I honest to God think that it's going to be to your detriment. And I expect I do not hope for. I expect possibly one or two deaths in this as a result of not including a healer. But
Hell yeah.
I am not hoping for that. I'm on your side. I'm up for you.
I'm hoping for it.
Yeah, you know,
Torvig is 80 foot away doing bows. He's
okay.
I'm biased as the guest
Let
now.
me introduce
I'm
you to 80-foot fireball.
I hope Torvig and Andira survive. They've been nice to me so far.
But yeah, it's going to be fun. There'll be tears. There'll be tears of laughter and tears of sorrow, and you can decide as to who weeps.
Possibly both
what
at the
type
same
of tears.
time if we do these things.
Yes. Anyway, it's going to be fun.
Beyond that, we have, of course, our other long-running actual plays, so keep posted to our socials to keep up to date alongside other off-stream games. You can continue the conversation as well over on our Discord server. Links to all those things are below, and we'll scroll through in chat. If you want to ever catch up on a missed episode or see one of our other splendid guest GMs, you'll find a whole section over on our YouTube channel, Emerald Collective Podcast. And not just 5e, but also Blades in the Dark, Shadow Dark, and in an audio format, an entire Call of Cthulhu campaign. No Silver Linings is a complete adventure created by friend of the channel Mark Corrigan of Shonic Games, and is available also for you to purchase. To terrify your own friends, just go over to drivethroughrpg.com right now. He was the keeper for this campaign as he introduced a party to the horrors to be found in Silvermines, Tipperary in the year of our Lord 1919. And if you prefer your audio adventures in a podcast flavor, No Silver Linings can also be found on all your normal podcast platforms, alongside another of Mark's creations, The Violet Madness. Previously a streamed campaign on this very channel, now available only in an audio format, only exclusive in an audio format, as the party crosses the land of Custonia in an attempt to rid that world of the titular magical disease. If you've missed the campaign previously, then episode 0 will bring you up to speed, and a dozen more episodes will continue the story with the next one due for release this very Wednesday, I believe. I could be wrong. He's nodding. I've got it there. But it's only available this early on the Wednesday if you sign up to our Patreon for a paid tier. The Emerald Collection, see what we did there, allows you to receive original maps, magic items, and monsters every month for use in your own games, as well as, and there's more, early access to those podcast releases and discounts on select items at drivethroughrpg.com, discounts on commissions from It's a Map, discounts on commissions from Liv Shangavi, formerly Zorpsart, who did the art for our Patreon. You'll even get a shout out on stream, and tonight's shout out goes to Christian, a founding member of the collective, a steady presence. We thank you very much, good sir. If you can't afford a monthly subscription to the Patreon, there is still a free tier, bringing a limited access to a selection of goodies, mostly the maps we steal when It's a Map is not looking. Don't tell her she doesn't know. For those who are watching regular the stream, we thank you as always for coming along. Get those fingers ready. Those of you who joined us for the first time, we thank you also for coming along. Hope you enjoy the ride. Remember to scream when you want the TPK. All you need to do is just watch. But if you want to influence the game, you can use channel points, Twitch bits, and even subs to provide boons, healing, and even fear and hope. fear and hope, well, I think at this point it's time for me to hand over to Wayne to take us forward.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you very much there, Rep, for that one. Yes, we are going to jump back into the realm of Horizons Hollow, where we last left the group. They had been split. Like, that was a really good idea, but they've been split as three of them went to the council to report on all of the situations that they found themselves in, as well as the destruction of the cavalcade, which was involving Paradox, and also Lanafir and Ramble were reporting on their findings from being out in the field. There was also some other information they had to give to Gendry Locke, who's the head of the overall council guard and the city guard, to make him aware that the Justicar that they first met way back in session 1 was systematically assassinated by some mind control or some creature that was pretending to be a clank. When they arrived at the City of Parliament in the last episode, Jaymz and Dog went their separate ways as Jaymz was looking for a specific item deep in the bowels of the City of Parliament. Dog also had his own reason for being in the city as well, with the promise that they would eventually meet back up again. The group of Lanafir, Paradox, and Ramble all met with the council and all told them all about their ins and outs and what was going on. They also saw an individual presenting their case, a member of the Blessed or the Heart Cursed, presenting their case for their own civil rights within the realm. As they departed, then they got to address the council and give them the terrible news that the cavalcade had been destroyed. Meanwhile, Jaymz and Dog found themselves in a shithole dive bar, and Jaymz made a deal with a crossroads demon to get access to a powerful instrument of his choosing. Then Dog went out the back after meeting a fellow member of the Circle, the criminals organization, went out the back of the said pub to pick up a package that he had promised to deliver in order to get on the good side of the local criminal aspect. He was then accosted by one Ven Latour, a fellow member of the Circle, a local member of the Circle, and she informed him that he must undertake a job before she will then bring them to the council, because she is also moonlighting as a messenger for the council. Jaymz met them in the alleyway, and the trio set off while Jaymz was plucking at his newly enchanted lute, singing and the praise of his crossroads demon, Silt. And that is where we are going to pick up on this episode. So, Dog and Jaymz, you are walking the busy streets of Parliament, moving up through the kind of lower echelons of the city, up into the kind of the middle echelon, the middle bits of the city. It's still a bit grimy, still a bit dirty. Dog, you're on high alert at this point. Ven seemingly giving you a friendly option, and as she kind of quietly answers any questions you have as you go, kind of keeping to herself but not being over exuberant. Jaymz doesn't know that she is a member of the Circle, because she's just a fan as far as he's concerned. But she has made to Jaymz, as far as Jaymz is concerned, she is agreeing to help you deliver this particular package to a destination, and then she will bring you to the council. You're walking through the busy streets. You can see the surroundings, like there's dwellings around you, like shop fronts and different kind of street side stalls. It's a kind of a hodgepodge of a full melting pot, as you see races of all shapes and sizes here. You see dwarves, orcs, goblins. Just bringing up the actual the races that are here in the realm of Daggerheart. We have clanks, we have dracona, dwarves, we've got elves, fairies, and fauns. Fearbogs. It's a huge melting pot of individuals now as you're in the belly of this city, and they're kind of moving through the crowds and throngs of individuals, heading kind of give me a perceive roll to see if you can kind of guess in what direction you're going. Either yourself and Jaymz can give me this roll.
All right, cool.
Oh, yeah, I forgot I have to
perceive.
type that in actually. So my +1. Yeah.
Can I use my rockstar presence as people part before me and I get to see the streets a little bit better?
You can, but if as a downside to using your rockstar presence, there is a chance that you might start getting noticed.
I mean, that's what he's here for.
That's the whole point, right?
That's the whole point of being a rockstar. So 2d12.
Yeah.
And
So, oh god. So again, we are. So I rolled 7 with hope. Plus 2 is 9. Isn't that right? 9 with hope.
9 with hope. Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
No,
Sorry,
it's
not
not.
okay.
Sorry, just so I can be sure that's a 12 of hope, isn't it?
Sorry, it is a 12.
Total
Sorry,
value.
it's a 12.
yes,
it's
yes.
a total value. You are
Oh,
correct.
Sorry,
Sorry,
yeah,
I
I
was,
keep forgetting.
I was
Thank you
just-
so
I
much
was
for
just,
that.
I was just switching over to my rolling tab there, and I just
Yeah.
noticed that you
Oh, yeah,
7
big
and a
brain.
So
5.
12 with hope.
Yes, so it's a 12 with hope.
So I maxed
Dog-
out on hope. Could I have used a hope to make that roll better, or?
You want to use your experience, it costs a hope.
Oh, okay. So I
Yes,
should probably
to
start
use-
doing that.
So for
Okay.
anyone watching and anyone listening along to
shit.
this, we're all
I'm
very
not
new
going to
to
use
that.
my experience.
That's okay. So we're all very new to Daggerheart here, and we're going to make mistakes. We're learning as we go
Yeah.
here. And the whole thing is there's different in this game. You have what are called experiences, and you have hope and fear. You gain a hope every time you successfully roll with hope. There's 2 die. There's a 2d12s. That's how we roll this, and you have one die designated as your hope die and one designated as your fear die. When you roll your dice, you basically add the value together, but the higher of the 2 dice is what dictates whether you rolled with hope or fear. So if you get the higher number on your fear die, you succeed in the roll, you succeeded, but you succeeded with fear. And me as the GM, I get a fear mark that I get to knock down and use at a later stage in the game. And then with hope, you build them up, and then you use hope to activate abilities, experiences, so on and so forth. You can also use your hope to help other individuals and give them advantage rolls. All right, so we're learning as we go here. So.
Yeah, that was actually a 14 then with
Speaking
hope,
of,
given that I had my +2 from Rockstar Presents.
Yes.
Cool. And then so
Yeah.
the
and
one
speaking of
experience.
giving you fear, Wayne,
I see
that's
that.
a
Yeah.
6 with fear.
So the
give
one
it up
experience
for
that
you,
I
Wayne. Oh,
lost.
sorry, you're on the
Sorry, the 1 point of hope that I lost from using that I would have regained by rolling with hope.
Exactly.
Excellent, cool. So I'm back up to full.
So
hope.
that
Thank you.
so you do so that's how you do it. Like you gain a hope back when you succeed with hope, and that's the kind of the mechanics and the currency for playing. So let me just get my plethora of fear that I've built up over the last 3 sessions, which I plan on using.
Scared how much you have, honestly.
Yeah, I
did,
was going to make that remark. You have a lot.
Been quite
I've
a
a lot.
while since we had combat. and,
Plethora
So-
of Fear is my
so
favorite
much
Judas
fear.
Priest album anyway. So.
So here's the thing. So see, I don't have to tell you this, but I will tell you this for the sake of transparency and understanding how to play this game. I've been using fear as I've gone to do certain things. So I've used fear to make things more treacherous for you, to make it harder for you to roll with hope. And I have been using it up behind the GM screen. So I have marked down, I have a significant amount of hope, but I've used 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I've used 12 fear already. So I have a significant amount of fear already still, and I'm after getting another one there from Ben. So thanks for that.
Yeah,
God,
thanks,
how much
Ben.
have we generated? Oh, wow. Okay.
We're a veritable Fear
Yeah.
factory.
Ben.
100%.
Hey, see what I did there?
Yeah. Okay, so
All right.
Ben, or sorry, Dog, you're kind of too focused on the mission at this point. You're kind of worried about Ven, worried about what you're delivering, who you're delivering it to. Is this like you going deeper into the circle here?
He's thinking immediate. And he's not thinking about what general direction. He's like, is anyone within 2 feet of me going to fucking shank me?
Yeah. And James, you're kind of living in the moment here, and you're spotting it, and it's kind of like you're kind of strutting, and it's half and half thinking, will people notice me? Will people see me?
Yeah.
But also kind of you're taking in the space, and you're moving into a more think of it as like you're moving into a main shopping area of the downtrodden area of Parliament. So this is the main shopping thoroughfare of the lower parts of it. And you do clock, 1 or 2 people do clock you, and they nudge their mates and point and stuff.
Yeah.
They kind of see a bit. And are you stringing the loot as you go?
Oh yeah. Better
Yeah.
believe it. Wherever he may roam, he's kind of wandering along. Yeah. It's great to be in your city. It's great to be in your town, wherever the fuck that is, whichever one this is. I'm very happy to be in
Okay.
your city.
So as you're moving through, you're streaming there, and you're kind of saying like the odd thing sound. You can feel
Silt
it.
and destroy.
You see it resonating, and it just in the back of your mind, you feel that buzzing presence, like the hair standing up on the back of your neck, and you do see the odd person kind of start to nod their head, and if you kind of do see in your mind's eye this red arcane vibe emanating out from you and spreading through the crowd and latching on to certain groups as they move off, and it follows them and begins to spread, and they're just like yeah, and you're going for about 5-10 minutes as you're walking through here, and it kind of clears out a bit. You come to it's kind of a square, not a square, but it's an opening area that opens out into a larger thoroughfare, and it's got like a small fountain in the center of this space. And Ven kind of elbows you, Dog, and kind of points over to the left-hand side, and you see like there's an archway that's kind of covered in old kind of flags and decor that's kind of hanging off, but she kind of points over in that general direction. You do see, and you clock it straight away because you know what you're looking for here. You do see that there's a couple of people slyly on guard, but blending in with the throngs and the masses, and they're keeping an eye. And Ven, kind of as you approach, Ven catches their eye. James, give me your perceive roll to see if you catch any of this.
Okay, coming at you like Cleopatra. So perceive is instinct. So he's got +1 on this. So here we go. 2d12 + 1. Boop. Oh, sorry. There we go. Where did that go? That is 20 with hope.
Ooh, 20 with hope.
Nice.
21 with hope. Sorry.
20. Yeah, 20. You
Dealing with the crossroads demon has really.
Yeah. You feel a kind of an elbow in your side. You're going to go, oh, and you look, and Silt is standing right there with you. And his features are more formed. And previously you saw him and he was kind of like, he kind of looked like a chameleon, like a changeling. He had smooth features and he hadn't been formed fully yet. But now he's got high cheekbones, a pinched face, long kind of chin with a little straggly beard on the end of it and a mustache. His skin is it's a pinkish hue, and they go back into his pointed ears. He has an elvish look to him, and he's got slick black hair that's plastered to his head with a lot of dax wax. And he's standing there kind of in a black kind of leather outfit, and he's kind of pointing. He's like, you do see over there that these are clearly criminal of the criminal sorts. And as he kind of points and helps you with your perceptive moment here.
Can anyone else see him?
You don't. Nobody else seems to register him. Dog doesn't even, and he's right next to you, like he's walking with you.
And has anyone
Dog.
walked through him?
People seem to be walking around him.
Okay,
Like
they're not registering his presence.
No, not registering his presence. It's just like he's there, but he's not kind of. They're moving around him. He's not really.
That's probably it's probably my rock star gravity though. That's sort of making them. Yeah.
Giving you a white berth.
That's cool. He gets that.
So he kind of like, and he's like, I think definitely we should definitely be on our guard here.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh God.
You're so lucky to have me with you, James. This is going to be
right?
excellent.
So,
The
partnership of a
lucky.
lifetime, my friend.
Dog, you roll me a perceive roll there and
Ouch.
see if you
Ouch,
catch
James.
any of this. Yeah.
Guys, the girlies are going to have a breakup, and this really upsets me.
Yeah.
I don't want to see
Sorry,
James
Wade.
and Doug apart. Come on, Doug.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's
triangle.
like watching an extreme breakup.
Oh. Sorry, actually, yeah. Is James speaking out loud?
Yeah.
He's probably whispering, but I mean,
Well, I mean,
mean,
that's your call, James. Are you speaking out
always
loud?
speaks out
I
loud, doesn't he?
don't see why he wouldn't.
Yeah.
mm.
No
Can
other
I
thoughts.
make a roll to see if
I mean, like, God bless him. Like James, like he's not stupid, but he's led a very sort of privileged lifestyle, so he doesn't really think before he says. And well, ever since he got famous, so he doesn't really think before
Makes
he
sense.
says anything. You know.
as far
Give
as
me if you're used to his idiosyncrasies, you're used to his weirdness, his kind of self-flagellation and stuff like that. So, it's
Tin walls in a hotel.
I mean, he's heard James like muttering.
what the kids
he
call it
could
these
be
days?
he could be coming up with lyrics or something under his breath.
Yeah.
So he kind of
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
a 23. Oh, that is that's
and that's a crit. That's a crit.
Wayne. Is it
So
because both
it is.
the
It's a
same?
crit.
Yeah.
So essentially, folks, the way you
211.
crit in Daggerheart is if you roll the same number on both dice. So Dog just rolled a double 11, so that's a crit. So
Wow.
Dog, you're while you're focusing on Ven, and she points over, you hear James mumble and then kind of loudly go, yeah, ooh, yeah, and he kind of points over in their general direction as well. You look over at him and you catch him for a good couple of seconds having a conversation with something to his right shoulder that you don't see.
He already thought he was possessed. So now he's
Ooh.
he's got something
Oh.
else to worry about now. So it's that theory is entrenched. He thinks he's been possessed. He's not saying anything. Oh, and just for the I suppose the audience might be aware. James hasn't he doesn't know obviously that Ven and that was a circle contact,
No.
but I think he at least knows Dog is he knows he's a criminal. Like he knows he's an ex criminal.
Okay.
That much. He probably doesn't. Nobody outside the circle really knows much about the circle. So I don't know how much James has intuited about that. But I'm sure people probably know. They might know the name. It's a bit like knowing the name of, La Cosa Nostra or something.
Yeah. I mean, the circle, like
yeah.
everyone knows that there's organized crime in the world, but they don't know the ins and outs of it, I'm sure. And depending on the individual, they'd give me a roll of knowledge to see whether they would know too much or know a lot. But you clock this anyway, and you see the group is still moving towards it. You kind of now are standing kind of underneath this large archway, and you see a couple of individuals kind of stand up and nod, and one of them kind of nods and talks to Ven and looks at you, and Ven just kind of gives a wave, and he just nods into the kind of the alleyway that he gestures towards. The individual you see is a large kind of Dracona, like so large dragonborn-esque individual. They're kind of green skin, mottled with kind of yellow flecks throughout. They've got two large horns that go back and then curl around into the kind of the base of their jawline. And then they've got spikes out of their jaw. They're well decked out in leather armor, and Dog, you clock it straight away. Even under their cloaks, you can see, like, it's that whole thing. You can see that they've got two blades here, two blades here, two blades here. You can see it under their cloak. You know how they're very well armed, and they definitely seem to be the outside guard for whatever's in here.
They don't look like they look like they're on alert for whatever. But does Dog get any kind of spidey sense like he's about to get jumped?
They're not. They're kind of acknowledging that you're there. Ven is kind of talking to them under her breath, and she's kind of gesturing back, and they kind of look her up and down. They kind of they seem. You get the impression that they know her, and they kind of gesture on into the alleyway.
Okay. He's just doing his best to. Yeah, he's walking like he belongs there, and he's yeah, probably won't say anything to James because it could tipping him off one way or the other could arouse suspicion, and probably safer for James if it just it just looks like they're just doing a routine, just drop off,
What? Yeah.
Yeah, so he'll proceed anyway. He's not doing anything other than just following Ven, and if he catches eyes with somebody, he doesn't look away too quick. He doesn't hold eye contact. He doesn't really give a kind of mind your business, but don't look too shifty. It's kind of like
the four of you, which is there are now four of you, step into the alleyway, and kind of Ven leads the way and gestures down towards you see a kind of a dim arcane lamp with a blue crystal in it hovering above a doorway with a sign that says the blade stone, and it's a tavern essentially, but there's very much a kind of a underworld presence here, and you're used to this kind of thing. And James, you probably see it as another dingy rock bar, but Silt kind of at your ears like, I would recommend caution here, boy. I do believe we're about to do crime.
All right then. So put away the loot.
I mean, by all means, keep plucking and singing my praise. It makes me feel excellent.
Yeah. Well, your magic makes me feel excellent, sir. So, quite the partnership we've got here. Yeah, I'll doff the loot for a second and maybe create a mosh pit.
Indeed. Well, as your ally, I can keep an unknowing eye out for you here.
That would be
It's
excellent.
in my interest as well as your interest to keep you alive for as long as I can.
Yeah.
So let us proceed, I suppose. Ven turns to you, Dog, and she's like, when we go in here, you play it cool, keep it calm, follow my lead. We are literally delivering a package. It is a sample, and it could lead to future enterprise. This is a well-respected customer. I just need your blade, and I need you to keep your friend in check.
What?
Do you understand?
Says I'll have a word. And he's gonna just he'll turn to James and kind of gesture him over for a quiet, powwow, kind of a
So, yeah.
side stage kind of sidebar.
Yeah, what's
He'll
up?
say
kid?
says
What's
look,
happening?
said couldn't really talk about it on the street.
Yeah.
Something kind of fell into my lap. He said, just I'm helping to deliver this thing. He said this doing a circle job. I think it could
Like a circle pit.
I'm trying to get my old boss off my back, if you know what I mean. James would know that obviously he's left. He fled Crater, and so he knows there's a price on his head. He
doing
was supposed to kill
crime.
James, but he said fuck that. So he's like, I'm doing crime. Says, but just keep it a cool head.
Good
Be in and
name.
out.
Good name for a song.
Sorry for dragging you into it. But,
Guilty by association. Yeah.
Ven kind of punches like, is this what you call keeping him calm?
Sorry, just inspiration
well,
strikes.
it'll
the-
keep
the
him
oddest
focused.
time. Guilty.
Try to maybe
But then
hum.
it goes under his breath now because he's onto something. So guilty by association.
I think we
And
should-
he guys says he's like,
And he'll
be-
go into
he'll
deep
be
silences for
focused
like
now.
5 minutes.
Yeah. She
Yeah.
kind of leads the way. You see there's 2 armed guards standing at the door, leaning against the door frame, and they kind of see Ven, and she gives them a nod and points at the package, and they look you up and down and gesture you inside. The door opens, and you step inside a kind of a large open space that then leads into sorry, music is a bit loud here. Who steps into a tavern filled with the most undesirable individuals you've ever seen in your life. James, I don't know how experienced you would have been being from where you're being from, but this is a dirty, filthy, well-worn tavern that is now seemingly, and Dog, you spot it straight away. This is a circle hideout. This is a circle tavern that is specifically for members of the circle. You see like
this is a members club. This is
full on members club. You see every form of heritage here. You see clanks, you see dracona, you see goblins, you see dwarves. There's a couple of humans mixed in. There's even a couple of fairy folk flittering about. Some of them large, like there's a huge kind of carpus grasshopper individual that like has long antennae and his wings are kind of folded back and they're glittering with gold lining. You see the barkeeps are all orcs, big burly individuals, huge shoulders, all wearing aprons that are covered in all manner of suspicious stains. And one of them at the end, you hear him sharpening a blade as he's cutting up meats and stuff.
Wayne, any blessed / heart cursed amongst the
Yes,
individuals?
very much so. Very
Right,
much so.
yeah.
There's a few here. You can see them.
Yeah.
They're not. So here's the thing about the circle. And you know
Curious,
this.
because I feel like it tracks. I feel like that's kind of the way it was in Crater, that it's
Yeah.
by the fact that they're sort of ostracized and downtrodden. It's a lot of, sometimes the only work someone can get is a bit dodgy, if you're pushed into an outside
Yeah.
of society.
100%. And you see that here. So what you see here is again, always at the lower echelons of society, you see them mixed. So there's no segregation here. Everyone's in it together. The blessed are mixed in with everyone else. There's no prejudice here. Like, they're not off sitting in a corner by themselves. They're all mingled in. You see one of the blessed is over in a corner talking to 2 different fairy folk and a clank, and they've got these intricate reptile skin that seems to blossom up across their face and comes down into kind of shredding down at them, and it looks weird, but it's strange. But they're humanoid, but they have that mixture of reptilian in them as well. You see another one that is literally covered in fungus across on one side of their face, coming into kind of like small red popped marked mushrooms sitting on top of their head, and then on the far side of it, then there's coral sticking out there. Like again, but this is like a fawn, so they've got like the same jackalope type ears as well, and kind of like devil hoof type situation. It's a mixed bag of stuff
So
here.
he's definitely curious just to see, is it like it is back home? Is it like it is in Crater? Or were things a bit kind of segregated up here? Because certainly kind of the opinion he would have of Parliament, and he was curious if even the circle was that way. But
no, it's
sorry to
very
the
much mixed in.
tangent
No,
there,
100%. I think it's a nice piece of lore building here in this part, because it does show you the world around you. Ven kind of gives you an elbow again and gestures towards the end of the room, and you see in a large alcove by themselves, illuminated by a blue crystalline light. Kate, can we get the art for Tano on screen?
But we all dive to the stream to see what's going on.
Yeah, look at
You see
that.
You see this individual sitting in a corner, leaning, a high collar, purple blue shirt, gold chains adorn their neck, bracelets around their wrists.
Gorgeous.
Kind of very tight at the sides, but a slight afro that's spiked a wee bit. Their kind of dark umber skin, glowing blue in the light. A tankard of ale sitting in front of them. They kind of lean back and they see you approach, and they kind of gesture at Ven and gesture at the three seats in front. Silt, you notice James, slides into the booth beside this individual, who introduces himself like, "Welcome to my bar. You can call me Tano." And then we're going to cut from there to our other three adventurers. Can we bring up the cityscape art again, please, there, Kate? Just real quick, just so for a bit of flavor. We then cut across the city to our three other adventurers, Lanafir, Paradox, and Ramble, as you find yourself standing in the tavern, standing in the armory of the council. This is a vast room, huge, cavernous, as you see a plethora of weaponry, armor, battle accoutrement. Just think the room at the end of Raiders, like where they put the Ark of the Covenant. It is huge, and it just stretches on as far as you can see. And the guard, the young guard that brings you in, he's like, "Right, well, you can be looked after by the Master at Arms, Storehead Anvilback. He's about, I think he's Storehead, and he shouts, and you hear his voice. Hears his voice echo down the kind of the large cavernous space, and you see about 4 or 5 shelves back. You see this head of shock red hair, kind of stick its head out. He's like, "Yeah. Storehead, we got people here who've been sent by the council. They're going to get sorted out for some weaponry and stuff. Can you look after them?" All right, yeah. And I'll be with you in a second. And you kind of hear a rumble and a crash, and then the guard just shakes his head to the sides and leaves and walks out the door. You're waiting a couple of seconds, and then this kind of dwarf kind of hops out, and he has a helmet stuck to his boot, and he kind of kicks it off, and it clatters down into the shelving. All right, yeah, I'm here. So the council sent you to find stuff. Anything? What do you want?
Oh, I've never been inside the armory before. This is so exciting.
We're doing an expedition out to the Dream Sphere. We need exploratory items, probably some additional weapons. She can have some items that fit into her pockets, not all of them. Not the big one.
She can answer for herself. I know exactly what things are required. I have a list, and I have a list of lists.
That first list is just a list of lists. That goes on.
Oh, it goes. It's so long, and it just unfurls like parchment to the ground. Just
The dwarf kind of just like looks exasperated at the sight of this thing just hitting the ground and just rolling and bouncing and unfurling.
yes. What kind of thing? Oh, yes. I have first thing on the list. Well, it's not the first thing on the list, but it's the first thing that I'd like. Do you have any arcane items?
We've got plenty of arcane items.
Oh, very good.
What do you want? Weaponry? Do you want armor? Do you want potions? Do you want crystals? Do you want things that are
No,
going to boost you?
what
Is it
I'm
easy if we just say
looking
yes?
Probably.
I suppose all to the above, but I'm looking for what is the name here? A sprite of some sort, a little tiny creature. It's a corrector sprite.
I do believe we have one of those things. Yes. One
Delightful.
second. I'll be back in 2 seconds. And you see him kind of bundle back, and you see him jump on this tall, curving ladder that's built into the shelving, and it seems to be on kind of large trundling wheels, and the wheels turn and spin wherever the way they're pushed. And he jumps up onto it and shoves himself, and you just see him disappear off down the shelving. And then all of a sudden it turns and then hits a corner and disappears around that corner.
That
And you
looks
hear a
so
clattering
fun.
and a couple of jars smashing. It's like, oh shit! And there's a couple of sparks that seem to fly out from where
Oh dear.
the ladders flew in. And then you see him kind of spin back around and the ladder comes flying up. And you see him with this large glass bottle, but inside of it's just a small little thing. It's like a tiny little sprite that has... It's a strange looking creature. It's not humanoid shaped or anything like that. It's like a glowing floating orb with a head and wings and then tendrils that come out of it. As he offers it up, he gives it a little shake, and you just see it bounce off the inside of the thing.
Oh no, be careful with it. It's a very
It's not a sentient thing. It's just it's functional. So, you're not gonna hurt it. So you can add a corrector sprite to your inventory. What a corrector sprite does is a corrector sprite is a tiny sprite that sits on the curve of your ear canal and whispers helpful advice during combat. Once per short rest, you may take advantage of on an attack roll. Do not give the corrector sprite your true name. That is a warning that is on a label that is attached to this bottle. All right. So you are not to give a corrector sprite your true name, but essentially it gives you advantage on a combat roll once per short rest. Okay.
Lanafir, what are you picking up?
Oh, you don't have to worry about it. Just a little assistance.
The red
In
label
case-
suggests I do need to worry about what you're...
Well, you know how things have been so far. I'm not a fighter myself, but in this situation where it might, heads might explode, or fungi might crawl up the walls, I would like just a little bit of assistance. I am small. I am mighty, but I am small.
Ramble's just going, oh god, oh gods, oh gods.
While
I
I
Yeah.
haven't even started yet. It's fine. It's going to be
while those
fine.
two are going back and forth, the dwarf turns to you, Paradox, is like, I take it you're going to want something powerful or mighty, or I guess.
I could use a better bow. This one's seen better days. And Paradox will kind of take his bow out from where it's kind of strapped to his back. And it is like a very old, very well-worn hunting bow. And a short bow, to be specific. And then you hardly have a charging quiver.
Charging quiver. Ooh, that is a rare matter, Adam. Let me. Indeed. I'll go have a look. And he hops back on the ladder again. But this time you see him kind of just, while he's on it, he kind of shifts and the whole thing just spins on its wheels and flips over to a different shelf. And he pushes himself off and goes careening upwards. Like he just vanishes. He goes straight up as the ladder just vanishes up into, and you look up and you realize now that these shelves go up and they just keep going up. This whole place seems to be completely against the laws of reality, as it kind of stretches off in different directions to infinity, and it's amazing to see. And also at times you kind of go as your eyes kind of have a hard time seeing it disappear into the distance. After a few minutes, you hear a clank and a smash, and a few things start to drop and clatter onto the ground. And you
Oh.
see
Can
jars
I-
smashing here and there.
Can I try catch some of the stuff that looks
Yeah,
stop
yeah.
hazards?
Yeah, you can give me a. You can give me either a
General
let me see now.
agility?
General agility, so a sprint roll or whatever.
Yeah.
It's general agility roll, and if you have any experiences that you want to use
I
here,
have
you can
quick hands,
spend-
so I can add a +2
Yeah,
to that. So I'll mark.
yeah. So spend the hope and add some quick hands here.
And that's 2d12 +4. That is an 11. That's 20 total with an 11 in hope.
In hope. Damn, there was me about to just mark a bit of fear down there. Oh no. So just to answer the question to Lumbering Paddy in the chat there. Daggerheart is the city of Parliament. It was first shown in the last episode when the folks arrived into Parliament. So that's what that is. So that's the scene explanation for that. That is an expanse of the city of Parliament. So Paradox, you reach out and you grab a couple. You manage to grab a couple. One or two go, but you grab a couple, and you see that there's like ones that have kind of throwing darts in them. One larger one is a kind of a long tube and case that seems to, like, when you catch it, it kind of the top pops open, and a couple of different scrolls pop out, kind of out to the end, and the sparks that fly off them, clearly they're arcane in nature.
That could have been bad.
And as you kind of catch these and lay them back on the counter, eventually then you just hear a kind of a as the ladder hurtling to the ground, and just before it hits, it just seems to float and stop, and it's like some kind of pressure underneath. As the dwarf arrives in, and he has this beautiful, unbelievably intricate quiver, with dark leather casing that has silver lining sewn into it that furls up and around, and he hands it over to you. So you can now put the charging quiver into your
Thanks.
slots. When arrows from a bow are kept in the charging quiver, damage rolls used using the bow deal +2 damage. So add that to your equipment, and it doesn't need to know your full name, so that's fine. So he turns then finally to Ramble, and he kind of rubs his hands. He's like, "You look like a well-traveled individual. So what kind of things could I give you?"
So just to go over the table. So we expect we're going to be on this journey for a while, don't we? In terms of what we're doing.
At least 3 episodes.
Blimey. I mean, Ramble will be asking if there's enhanced equipment, but he might also. I'm looking for somewhere to rest. I heard there's a tale of tents you can go into that allow you to not stay on the ground. Some sort of untethered tent, I believe, would be, rather more useful to us. I mean, a better hero to hit someone would be great, but I think sort of tents for a party of 5 would be.
I do believe we have something like that. And he said, "I actually don't have to use the ladder this time, which is good. I was starting to get a bit seasick." And he kind of walks down.
Seems very, yes.
He kind of looks, and you see, think of when you go into IKEA and they have all the heavy, large flat pack stuff on the bottom shelf. And he walks in, and you see him kind of step, and he pulls out like this large kind of box, and he slides it out, and then he kind of gestures over it, and you see him mutter a couple of incantations, and the box starts to fold up on itself, and he then lifts it up. It's about this big. Then he picks it up and walks over to the counter and just puts it down there, and you see then there's an inscription on the front of it, and it translates in every language, as it just basically it's called an untethered tent. So a floating tent weighed down with stabilizing stones, a perfect place to rest for one that wants to stay just off the ground while sleeping. During a long rest, you will always gain a hope. So you use this
Nice.
untethered tent, and you will gain a hope when you use it during a long rest. So you can add that to your equipment slot. Is there anything else that I might be of service with you? Because I was about to go on my lunch break.
I mean, there was a section of potions, I would have thought, for.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, that's easy. And he reaches underneath the counter and just pulls up like a milk crate, and it clinks with the bottles inside of it. I've got a plethora of different types of potions here. You have all sorts. What are you looking? If you're looking for your basic health potions, we got that. And he kind of divvies out 3 health potions in front of you there. So you have. Hang on, I'm just bringing up my equipment list here. Bop, 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 bop. Just the thing about if folks, if you're wondering, we're using Demiplane, which is the kind of where the Daggerheart digital edition is going to be stored. And on Demiplane right now, they've got the full listings of all the general equipment that's available for the beta. It's fantastic and it's easy to kind of go through, which is what we're using tonight. So just to give you an idea that is available to everyone who wants to see the stuff. So if you're looking for a basic health potion, he kind of pulls out, there's a couple of different ones, small bottles that have kind of sloshing heavy viscous liquid inside. It has a kind of a purplish hue off it, and it's kind of seems to have gold running through it. So this is a general health potion. You can have 3 of those, and then he has a couple of other ones he pulls out. It's a sparkling blue with seemingly bubbles that are going from up to bottom rather than bottom to up. Right? Think Frobscottle from the BFG. But it's essentially the bubbles are flowing downwards. This is a shark potion. If you drink this, you take a +1 to your knowledge roll. And he then also pulls out 2 more potions that are kind of a deep green, and they're thick and heavy. But these are stamina potions, and if you drink these, they immediately clear 1 + 1d4 stress.
Nice.
So you have 3 health potions, 2 sharp potions, and 3 stamina potions.
The health potion, one to each person who's here for health potions. Ramble's already got a stamina potion, so he'll hand those 2 out, and then hold on to one sharp and give the other to Lanafir.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Shakes the bottle, looks at the very engrossed in like the sharp blue color of the potion, just stares at it for a good moment. Oh, yep. Yes, as you were.
I will add, Paradox is, since he dropped it, Paradox has also strapped the bandolier of throwing darts to himself.
Nice, add them to it.
Yeah.
I need to look up stats for them. If they aren't any stats from throwing darts, I can make them up. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's at that moment that the door behind you opens, and stepping into the room, you see the tall female form that you saw at the council. Kate, can we bring up the art for Ova Zemba? You see her in her kind of form-fitting cream-ish coffee-colored outfit, her dark umber skin glowing in the kind of the light that's in this space. She has a long golden staff in her left hand, with it seems to have purple or pinkish arcane energy slithering off the top. She's tall, very tall. She's like pretty much the same height as Ramble. And she's lied, but she moves with grace, and she has this stature about her that is like commanding. And she steps into this space and sees all 3 of you, because I was hoping to have a word with you, if you have the time and if you're ready to move on from the armory for now.
Oh, of course, we would be very glad to speak.
She gestures and kind of gives a wave to the quartermaster then he's like, and he kind of wafts, and you see him take out a lunchbox, and he starts to open them and
Thank you.
unpack his
Eat
sandwiches
well.
for the day. And it's flat. He's like, yeah. And she kind of leads you out of the room. And you're now in the corridor again once more into the council chambers of Parliament. And there are people moving back and forth here, bustling back and forth, and it's still busy, but you see people kind of gesture towards her and nod. Coming up the other side, then you see coming towards you with wavering, you see Branagh Cree. Kate, I don't know if it's possible to put Ovazemba's art and Branagh Cree's art side by side on the screen. I don't know if that's possible. If it isn't, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. But you see the Galapa form of Branagh Cree coming towards you. He is waddling, his staff out, the trinkets jangling on it, and he kind of gestures, and Ova Zemba sees him and nods and waits for him to arrive up as the duo then leads you. Thank you very much, Kate. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Big shout out to It's a Map for doing amazing technomancer work tonight. Couldn't have done it without her. But they gesture for you to follow them across the corridor and into another room. And as the door closes behind you, You're in this empty office space that doesn't seem to be not in use. There's a couple of chairs dotted around the space, and they kind of, it's like, we need to speak to you. This is over Zemba speaking. She's like, we need to speak to you about the situation that has obviously come to Parliament with you in tow with the issue of the cavalcade, but also we want to speak about another issue that we are seeing ourselves here, growing concerns about everything that might be linked into this. We believe the council to be compromised. We believe there are multiple factors at play here. You met Gendry Locke upon arriving into Parliament.
Yes, we did.
Very excitable guy.
And you informed him of the death of a Justicar, one of the judges that were under his charge, yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
This was not the first one to die under his watch. There have been 5 in total over the last 6 months.
It's quite a few.
All reporting to him, and all dying under mysterious or sudden circumstances. We believe he is plotting, or part of a plot, to either overthrow or take over the council as such. He has been undermining our decisions and our influence for the last year or so. And at this point, Brannock kind of chimes in. He's like, it's been very difficult to get anything done. She kind of waits then for your reactions.
Correct me if I'm not wrong, but would that not stabilize the whole city?
Exactly. And the news of the cavalcade being completely destroyed is another destabilization. The very precarious balance that exists in Horizons Hollow is something that we have to keep watch on here in the council. And more events have been taking place that have been destabilizing them. We believe right now there is a conspiracy in the city to sow dissonance and create chaos.
Are we implying that it is Mr. Gendry that is purposefully sowing these seeds of chaos?
We believe he's part of it. As such. Lanafir, give me a knowledge roll, please.
Yeah. I always have to double check my knowledge. Perfect. Okay. I have +3 to this. Ooh, that is a 13 with hope. Sorry, 15 with hope. Sorry.
15 with hope. I'm getting no fear. I got 1 fear so far. You guys are with this now. So you...
Come on, lads. You're going to start, you know what I mean, pulling your weight. I'm the only one giving weight.
Just 2 seconds.
Clearly, Dog is the only one that's scared here.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, to be fair, his bestie is
back.
possessed allegedly.
He doesn't know that.
Well, he suspects.
he assumes
like,
he's possessed,
yeah,
and
he
James,
assumes-
James is like riding high because he has a.
James has just written
bestie
some new
now.
lyrics.
Like,
You better wait for these. They're coming. They're coming.
So, Lanafir, you know that Gendry has been... You are aware of Gendry Locke. You've seen him throughout the years of his service in Parliament. He has been a council member for a short... He's the shortest council member in terms. He's only been a council member for the last decade. But over the last 2 to 3 years, his methods have become more extreme in dealing with crime in the city. He is getting a bit too overzealous with the orders of kind of kill now, ask questions later. The due process seems to be going out the window. And you're aware of that being an ever-growing thing, particularly over the last 6 months. To now hear that he is suspected of being part of a plot to destabilize, it kind of clicks into place. It makes sense for you as a member of the land registry. You've seen it on your comings and goings. So you kind of, okay. Brannock Creed then pulls out a kind of a folder of notes and scrolls, and he kind of puts it down on the desk that's in the room, and he opens it up. We have been collecting data over the last Yeah, slowly but surely, myself and Ovazemba quietly behind closed doors with our own contacts, some within the Parliament, within the Crown's Guard, or the Parliament Guard, and also through other less than legal um, methods. We don't trust many people. In fact, even the messenger who we sent to meet your colleagues, she is a known member of the circle to us, but not to the rest of the council. But she is
Well,
one of our
dangerous.
contacts.
This is very
All
surprising.
three of you, all three of you give me a. All three of you give me a. Let me see now. Give
Knowledge?
me a recall roll, please. So yeah, knowledge, a recall roll, just to see what you remember about the circle, if you know anything at all about it.
Yes.
We got a boon there for Dog from Homebrew from Ben. Thank you so much, Ben, for Ben.
Ah,
Ben
10 with
solidarity.
fear.
Ben
Crit.
solidarity.
Critical success.
So critical
Funny
success
enough,
for
the one who's
Ramble.
for me,
Wow,
the two.
Two
Nice.
critical successes. Wow.
Yeah.
two
Wow.
critical successes.
The two
That's-
people from like the furthest away from like that shit. I know the
Yeah.
most.
Well, so here's the thing. So Ramble and so Lanafir, did you roll?
Yeah,
You
I
got
got
a-
a 10 with fear.
Fear. Okay, excellent.
That
You guys-
smile.
You guys succeeded critically
Kept
with
that
hope.
quiet, didn't you?
So you two, Paradox, on your travels with the cavalcade, you have run into members of the circle. The circle, as for the most part, don't interfere with the cavalcade. In fact, there have been one or two occasions where they have helped you, where there have been people have tried to stupidly attack the cavalcade, and the circle have stepped in and helped you protect the space and the cavalcade itself. And Ramble, in your area where you're from, there have been members of the circle who have come looking for information about the ruins and the settlements in different areas. And while your tribe were very much protectors of the area, they didn't encroach. They respected your space a lot more. A lot of the time, better than general.
Some of the other tribes actually did, yes.
You know, so
Yeah.
like you have like Lanafir would be a rarity where somebody who's an official kind of researcher would demand that they get to see it because they're from a certain grouping. But the circle, there's a level of respect there. They don't push it too far. And they understand that they can only do things, but I mean, they are nefariously they're part of a crime syndicate, but they also respect the law of the land. Not necessarily the rule of law, but the law of the land they seem to respect from your experience. Lanafir, you, as far as your 10 gets you, within the circle, within the city of Parliament, you know that they're you've been told throughout the years of your research, your comings and goings, they're essentially a crime syndicate. They deal in different things that are outside of the rule of law. And you have heard Gendry Locke and his ilk complain about them consistently and look for ways to end them. Branagh Cree presents this folder filled with stuff. Ramble, I need you to give me a perceive roll, please.
I was diving to have a look at that thing. Not that I have any bonuses to perceive, so this is going to go well. Boop.
Boop.
That is a 18 with hope.
No, that what hope? It is with hope. Damn.
That
Yeah,
is
I
with
get
hope.
that.
Sorry.
I'm not. Don't be sorry. Come on.
So
I say
you're
sorry now.
kinda-
He might make the explosion smaller later when it comes.
You're looking over Branagh Cree's shoulder. You see this kind of stuff being rolled out, and it's there's stuff here from Lanafir's reports, but there's other reports as well. But straight away you clock there's an entire report, as an older report from Lanafir about your homeland, but there's also other reports from those ruins, and you start seeing and it's about magics and dangerous weaponry and ancient lore, ancient links to the mages from the destruction of the Glass Heart, from the magics that are live or exist within that realm, and you're looking at it and it just clicks in your mind as you start reading through it, what Lanafir has told you and your knowledge of your own history and where you're from, is that you remember the resonance piece, the resonance crystals, you remember the possessed clank, and things start to fall into place. These magics are from where you're from. this part of the plot is part of the land that you're trying to protect. And this magic has come free into the world by some means.
I was
And
really
you-
hoping that wasn't the case. Okay. Ramble makes mental note not to tell Lanafir if he can get away with it for at least a short while, because
Okay.
she'll just dive wanting to go get headlong first into all this.
Well, she would be very upset, to put it mildly. That's not why she went. It wasn't for
It
magic to
wasn't
be
why-
used
I
against
know,
the common
I'm
good.
aware of that. Okay, so yeah, Ramble. That report is not good news. That's we might need to go back to the clans of Kanakata and see strengthen our borders in this case. This should not be. If she doesn't stop it, he's going to take it. He's going to start reading that in detail.
I mean, like the thing about it is that Brannock, like he's like, I'm happy for you to peruse whatever you need to look at. But this is everything I have so far on this entire conspiracy. There was one thing we wanted to talk to the three of you about, and it worries us greatly, is that the two individuals that you say accompanied you here to Parliament we've sent Ven to retrieve them. They have yet to arrive. Ven is capable, and if your friends are capable like you say they are, they may have fallen under the watchful eye of Locke.
Is Ven one of your circle contacts then?
She is, and she is very reliable. We have built up a level of trust, and there is payment involved, but she tells us of any stirrings in the underworld, and likewise we tip her off every now and again whenever Locke is getting overzealous with our fellow members.
No chance she's involved them in business that might be delaying them.
We do not know. So, the
Like
last
us to go and see if we can track them down.
well, our last
Tracking
contacts,
James shouldn't be hard.
our contacts last saw them moving through the middle levels, heading towards an unsavory place.
Of course.
And he gives you see he writes down the directions of the tavern whose name I've already forgotten, the Blade something. I forgot to write that down.
Bladestone.
Bladestone.
If Paradox could roll his eyes, he would. But they're just green
Yeah.
lights, so just
No,
kind of.
this makes sense. No, this makes perfect sense. It's obviously them. If they've gone to this place, it's
I like to imagine instead of rolling, like Paradox's eyes get like they get
They
like the
whirl.
buffering
He does
wheel.
have those
He
kind
does,
of, no,
like, for a
he
second,
has those so the lenses have those kind of adjustable kind of like things for like
aperture, like
nice.
apertures, but like yeah. And the color can shift depending on levels of anger. Usually they flare up.
We can give you directions, but I think since you are three unknowns in the city, it might be best for you to go find your friends and retrieve them. We need to start making plans on what the next steps are against Locke and his ilk, and try and find out what is going on in the city.
If we're to travel into the city, can I just ask a favor? Do any of you have a cloth or a handkerchief handy?
And Ovazemba kind of twists her hand in the air, and magically you just see a kind of an embroidered handkerchief float, and it kind of levitates off towards you.
Paradox grabs it and then just pulls it across his face, removing the last of his mark.
Okay. We would also like you to have at some point that we have an individual, a friend, that I think you believe you saw them briefly in the council chambers, and they are
blessed.
Yes,
Mikhail.
Mikhail,
yes,
yeah.
Mikhail Bernatu is somebody we want you to speak to at some point as well, as he can give you insight into some of the goings on within the city. It is tenuous at best, but he is part of our solution, and for Gendry Locke, he is part of his problem. So
he doesn't seem too fond of our different-looking friends.
We head out to the Bladestone first, and then we'll speak to this Mikhail. And then head out to the Green Sphere, I would have thought.
Ovazemba kind of like, we will set up a meeting upon your return, and then we will
Good.
make arrangements for your departure if that is suitable.
If possible, I would like to leave without much notice. If you
Agreed.
get my drift. I
So
don't
be
want Gendry knowing
quiet.
when we're gone.
Yes.
That can be arranged.
And I would suggest we don't travel by the road. I can find our way through the wilds.
Trust me, our method of travel
I would hope
is
would be, yeah.
where you're going. You don't need roads.
Who needs
Um,
roads
I
when
know.
you can fly?
If I may
overstep.
overstep, if you're worried about destabilization, maybe keep Parliament from being over a landmass. For your own sake as well as the people's.
Our current flight path brings us northwards over the great oceans for the next 3 days. So hopefully,
We're in a schedule.
and she kind of gestures to lead you out of the room. As you all funnel out and start making your way out of the main council chambers, we will switch back to the Bladestone. Kate, if we're okay and we're all good, can we switch the arc back to Tano when you have a second? As Dog, James, and Ven all sit around, and also the demonic spirit of Silt, all sit around this table in a darkened corner with one arcane blue light shining down, adorning your faces, as the individual of Tano sits across the table, a tankard of ale sitting in front of him. Well, you have stepped into my ball, looking to parley and show me your wares, Miss Latour. And Ven kind of nods and gives you a nod, Dog. You have the box, so.
Dog just takes it out nonchalantly and
I think for the first time, James
kind of
actually kind of
places
looking up
on
and going, "What the fuck's going on here?"
yeah, Dog places it on, Dog's side of the table, the far side, and he kind of pushes it towards the center of the table and then takes a step back.
You see Tano, he has, and you notice for the first time as well, his left hand is sorry, his right hand is up here, but his left hand is under the table. And he, with his right hand, he reaches over, his left hand still under the table. He kind of gently tugs at the box and lifts it open. And you see the small lid just kind of clicks off it, and he just rests it down on the table next to his tankard of ale and looks in. And you all see it, like, as the box is open in front of you. Inside are large, kind of very visibly empty resonance crystals. Pretty much the same as the ones you took out of, James, the one you took out of the fungal clank individual. And the ones that you surmised were being used to channel these messages throughout the land of Horizons Hollow. And you see these are like events, like, as you can see, these are larger crystals capable of storing more arcane resonance. They are powerful, well preserved, sturdy, and they will do you for what you require. This is just a small sample of what we have. We are able to provide more. Tano kind of gives a nod, and you beside Tano, Silt is there. Sorry, 1 second. I'm just realizing the music is very. Oh.
Thanks for the sub, Gunslinger. Turn that down, I think.
Dude.
Yeah, I'm turning it down.
Perfect.
So it's too hey nonny for my liking. So I'll switch it. So you are. Sorry, Tano's like, yes, this will do our needs, but the price is the thing, isn't it? And Silt kind of looks at these. He's like, Silt looks at these crystals sitting on the table in the box. He's like, I do believe I've seen something like this before.
Oh yeah.
And you feel that kind of pulse in your chest slightly, James. And Tano kind of picks up one of the crystals and kind of turns it in his hand. Can everyone give me a perceive roll, please? So Dog and James, give me a perceive roll.
Okay. I got +1 of this. I'm going to use a. Don't think I have anything for this. I'll just go plus 2d12 +1.
Is this if it's specific to the
18 with
resonance
hope.
crystals? I'm not sure, but if it's specific, if it's perceive roll related to something shady that's going on, could he use his circle experience?
Yeah, of course.
But
Yeah.
if it's something magical, then yeah.
No, it's not magical. Spend the hope there and pump it in
Spend
and
that
have your
hope.
+2 to your roll.
Yeah. +2, so that should be doing a 3. Okay. Sorry, bear with me 1 second.
Okay.
16 with hope.
So James got 17 with hope, and Dog got 16 with hope.
18 with hope. Sorry.
Sorry, 18 with hope.
Yeah.
So you two of you, as you're looking at Tano spin the crystal, and Silt is like says to you, James, like, I've seen something like this before. You notice that the room is definitely quiet, and you look and turn, and you see that everyone's looking at you. Silt continues to laugh and kind of point. He's like, I do believe, James, that this might be the source of a few of your problems.
What problems? Problems you talking about?
Well, I'm feeling a generous pull towards this crystal, mate. And this individual here is not being very forthcoming.
How should I handle this then?
Well, Silt here can look after you. I don't know about your friends, though. I have my ways. And it's at that point you notice that Tano is no longer looking at the crystal. He is looking directly at Silt.
James will kind of look at Thanos and he'll go, what you looking at there?
He puts the crystal down and very quickly grabs Silt by the back of the head and slams him into the table.
James will stab him with a rapier. If
Well,
he can. Yeah.
If you can. So very quickly, as Tano does this, he slams Silt's head into the table shakes. James, you don't see this. You just see this individual grab something and it looks like they punched the table.
This is Dog, not James. James sees it.
I mean,
Sorry,
Dog.
James,
Yeah.
Dog doesn't see. Dog, you just see Tano reach, grab Silt by the back. You don't see him grabbing anything. His hand grabs nothing, and he looks like he punches the table. The table, and the box of crystals kind of tumbles, and it starts clattering to the ground. I think Ven kind of stands back as Tano raises his head. His left eye blazes to light, but unlike the orange and gold you've seen before, it is fiery red. As it flickers and the light around him just bursts, the arcane crystal on the wall shatters, and in the darkness you just see that eye burning brightly. As you all look around the tavern, every other member of the circle, their left eye begins to, as orange light flickers and flares upwards. Then pulls her blade. As holding Silt, now unconscious, Tano stands. He goes, you think you belong to Silt, boy? Who do you think Silt belongs to?
Ooh.
And we're going to take our break there. Now, I just want to clarify before we take our break. Dave, how are we fixed for a second half? Because
I don't think we are fixed for second half. So
Okay.
I think we're gonna call it here if that's all right, because our
okay,
technomistress is feeling decidedly unwell.
She has been powering through,
Powering through.
this whole time. So
quick
know.
session tonight, folks. Thank you so
appreciate
much to Kate
Commendable.
Kate Kate has been unwell, so we really appreciate her. even
Rockstar.
doing-
Like,
So it's all good. But look, I mean,
Our
I think that
Technomaster's
is
better than your Technomaster.
yeah. So thank you so much to Kate. But look, it's a good spot to end the episode anyway.
Oh, it is.
Oh, yeah.
So we will pick up here on the next one. We hope Kate feels better.
Yeah, she will.
Yeah. So if we want Rep, if you want to do the sign off.
I will in that case. My next thing was going to be thanks to our technomistress. In any case, there is a tip for the technomistress down there. She doesn't want coffee at the minute. She wants something for
She wants Robert Tussen.
something else, not coffee this time.
Yeah,
round,
but buy
there's
me a
down
buy me
there.
a flat 7-Up.
Yeah. Already
Ginger
did.
biscuit or two, something along those lines. The artwork is by our ever wonderful DM that is drawn by his own fine hand, where he said so. Some or two bits, I believe, are actually from the Daggerheart campaign. But check out this man. You will notice in chat has been going through links to his own artwork in graphic novels, and we do suggest that.
Well, I always have to correct that. I didn't draw my graphic novel. Kevin Keane did. I am the writer and the colorist.
Cool.
Always credit your artists, folks. Always credit your artists.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful stuff there. Music also has been supplied by Wayne and being played through the Roll20 platform we were using tonight. And the world of Horizons Hollow was created by all the players you see before you at this table tonight.
Yeah.
Not just the GM. We all had our input. We all have our corners, and we haven't told all the secrets just yet. But we will leave Horizons Hollow for now. We'll say goodbye to Daggerheart. We'll be back on Tuesday, where we're in the world of Eberron, and I get to kill the party. I mean, the party will see if they can.
what?
All I'm saying, Rep, you better not have adjusted settings in my seat.
He did.
And on that note, thank you very much for watching.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Goal.
Now.
Bye.
Have a good night.